Chapter 625 to 627. After warning Kabuto and issuing several instructions to the faculty staff of the Ninja Academy, Kuroto came home and found a summoning crow sitting on the balcony. "Are there any findings?" he muttered with a somewhat excited expression and quickly went forward to take out the scroll tied at the crow's leg. This summoned crow was sent by the Yonde Mizukage Karachi Yagura, and considering the task Kuroto handed over to the Mizukage, the scroll must contain some information related to the whereabouts of Deidara. After weaving the appropriate hand signs to unlock the seal, Kuroto unfolded it and read it. However, as he read it, his excitement soon died down and he couldn't help but sigh in disappointment. In the scroll, Karatachi Yagura states that although the Kirigoku or Ambu were able to find the whereabouts of Deidara somewhere in the land of grass, however, they were soon spotted by Deidara and as such lost trace of him. "Deidara is really a troublesome guy," muttered Kuroto while shaking his head, then went on to read the further details written in the scroll. Yonde Mizukage also states that he has sent more Hyuga Kuroto. Therefore, soon Deidara's whereabouts will be found again, and as soon he is found, Kuroto will be instantly notified. While it can't be helped, thinking so, Kuroto nodded to himself and then destroyed the scroll sent by the Yonde Mizukage. Finding Deidara is really not an easy job. This is the exact reason why Kuroto is reluctant to search his whereabouts all over the shinobi world. Deidara's explosion released, which he uses in conjunction with the explosive clay and his clay figuring skills that he calls art, makes him a very versatile shinobi. Although Deidara is quite young in age and doesn't have very high raw strength, when it comes to mobility, destructive power of explosions and tactical abilities, he is quite good. In fact, it wouldn't even be wrong to say that he is a genius who can steadily enter the ranks of Kage so long as he grows up. This was the case in the canon. By the time he was an adult, he was able to infiltrate into the Sunagaka and kidnap the Godam Muzukage Gaara, all on his own. Even if we consider that Gaara was the only shinobi who fought against Deidara, the fact that the entire Sunaga could only helplessly watch as their Kozukage was kidnapped from their own village by Deidara proves that Deidara was also a force to be reckoned with. Regardless, all this doesn't matter to Kuroto. What matters is that he gets Deidara's cells, and considering that Yagura has sent additional Anbu, Kuroto no longer paid any attention to this problem and delved into carrying out the preparation for the upcoming entrance ceremony. 2 days later, in these 2 days, the news that several Uchiha clansmen were beaten by a certain Hyuga clansman soon spread all over the village, and considering the fact that the two concerned clans involved in this incident are the Yuka clan and the Hyuga clan, so the heat of the news even reached the same level as the time Sandai Mokage stepped down from the Hokage's seat and Danzo took over as the temporary Hokage agent. As the incident gradually fomented, the exasperated Hyuga clansmen also breathed a sigh of relief. Previously, the Hyuga clan was being questioned for their lack of shinobi capable of contending with the shinobi of the Uchiha clan, and the entire clan was being trolled for spreading false claims about being as strong as the Uchiha clan. However, after this incident, all these trolls disappeared. As the Konoha villagers were inquiring about the protagonist and the antagonist of the incident, they were also looking forward to the reaction of the Uchiha clan. However, because of some strange reason, the Uchiha clan, which has always been arrogant, went uncharacteristically quiet this time. Neither did they choose to pursue this matter anymore, nor did they give any explanation of this incident in public. Of course, the patriarch of the two clans did have a meeting in the presence of the former Hokage, and the 8 jonin who forced themselves in the Hyuga clan district were punished. However, what other things were discussed in that meeting is unknown to everyone, including Kuroto. One thing to note is that after this incident, Kuroto's popularity in the village once again rose. When the villagers inquired about the protagonist of this incident, they were surprised to find that this Hyuga Kuroto is the same Hyuga Kuroto who once defeated Uchiha Shinichi. Although Uchiha Shinichi hadn't awakened the so-called legendary Mangekyo Sharingan at that time, this detail was subconsciously ignored by everyone because a win is a win and a defeat is a defeat. But Kuroto had nothing to do with all this, and he was busy carrying out all the preparation for the upcoming entrance ceremony that is to be held tomorrow. Next day, it was early morning and the sun was shining brightly in the soft morning light. Uchiha Sasuke and Uchiha Kiyomi walked out of the gate of the Uchiha Patriarch's mansion and proceeded towards the Konoha Ninja Academy while being accompanied by Fugaku, Mikoto, and Yato. Today is the day when Sasuke and Kiyomi officially enroll in the Konoha Ninja Academy. Both kids are full of confidence and ready to make the Uchiha clan proud. Well, such feelings are at least in the heart of Sasuke. Kiyomi, on the hand, doesn't seem to have too much on her mind and is just excited about the opportunity to make so many friends. Uchiha Fugaku, who is at the forefront, glanced at Sasuke with a stern expression and said, "I have heard that the elder daughter of the patriarch of the Hyuga clan is also enrolling in the academy starting this year. Additionally, there is also the disciple of Hyuga Kuroto who will be in the same year as you. He may be a year older, but that's irrelevant. Sasuke, don't let me and the Uchiha clan down. And the same goes for you, Kiyomi. Make sure that the two of you stay at the forefront among your peers." The reason why Fugaku is giving a special warning is because of the rumors in the village, because of Shisui and Itachi's persuasion, and also because it was the fault of the Uchiha clan to begin with. He apologized to the Hyuga patriarch. However, he still wanted the reputation of the Uchiha clan to rise back to the top position. That's why he didn't want Sasuke and Kiyomi to lose to the children from the Hyuga clan. Sasuke repeatedly bobbed his head and nodded. Otu-san, please rest assured, just like Nissan, I will make you and the Uchiha clan proud. I will become the #1 rookie of all the generation. Kiyomi also nodded, but her tone was highly respectful. I also understand, Otu-san. Itachi flicked the forehead of the two kids and added, just don't be careless. Kiyomi nodded with a smile, but Sasuke on the other hand pouted and said with a dissatisfied expression, Nissan, why do you still treat me like a child? I have mastered the great fireball jutsu of our clan, and I have also awakened my Sharingan. I am no longer a child. Itachi shook his head helplessly. He caressed the head of two kids and said with a smile, in my eyes, the two of you will always remain my younger siblings. This is something that won't change no matter how skilled, strong, or old you get. So, even if you don't want to be treated as a child, you'll have to deal with it. Sasuke sighed, that is so not fair. Kiyomi giggled hey while continuing to caress the head of the two kids. Itachi added, now on a serious note, don't remain isolated and make a lot of friends among your peers. When I was your age, making friends is one thing I did not do and I sort of regret it now. That's why I want the two of you to do it. Remember, one person alone cannot change everything. But if we have a lot of friends who support us and trust us, then we can accomplish anything. Kiyomi nodded cheerfully. I understand Itachi-nii-san. Sasuke, although did not speak it openly, he acknowledged Itachi's advice. Fugaku and Mikoto watched over the three children with genuine smiles on their faces. With that, the Uchiha party carried on their journey and soon arrived at the gate of the Ninja Academy. The gate of the Ninja Academy was crowded with people. From just a single glance, hundreds of parents could be seen accompanying their children to the academy for the entrance ceremony. Fugaku and Mikoto swept their eyes over the crowd, and from a single glance they were able to spot several acquaintances. The Inoshika-cho clan, Inoshika clan, Aberome clan, even the Kurama clan. This year is going to be really different from all the previous years, although it has long been heard in the rumors that the trainees enrolling this year are really different from the past. However, this kind of scene has exceeded Fugaku's expectations. Patriarchs and senior leaders of almost all the major shinobi clans at the same place, if not for the fact that everyone is here for dropping their children at the academy. The onlookers might have even mistaken that a high-level meeting or a war council about to be held at the Ninja Academy. As the Uchiha patriarch and his wife greeted the heads of various clans, suddenly from one corner of the street the party from the Hyuga clan entered the field, and coincidentally enough, just as the Hyuga clan entered, the eyes of the patriarch of the Uchiha clan and the Hyuga clan met. The moment they met, a clash between eyes took place and animated sparks flew out. For a moment, the surrounding atmosphere became tense. However, nothing happened. Both patriarchs snorted and ended their staring contest. After withdrawing their gazes, both looked at the children on the other side. Is she the heir of the Hyuga clan? Such a timid girl. She can't even match our Kiyomi, much less Sasuke. If she becomes the next patriarch, then the Hyuga clan is really doomed. On the contrary, the child from the branch family is really something. Hey, this situation is quite interesting. I wonder how the Hyuga patriarch feels about it, thought Fugaku as he observed Hinata and Naji. At the same time, the Hyuga patriarch looked at Sasuke and Kiyomi and couldn't help but feel a little bitter. Both children have unparalleled talent, not to mention his elder son Uchiha Itachi. Uchiha patriarch is really lucky. I guess the elders were right. Hinata really can't bear this pressure. Now only click before Hayashi could completely make up his mind. His thoughts were interrupted by the sound of the school gate opening. As the gate opened, under the guidance of the faculty staff, the parents and their children entered the newly built school campus and gathered at the school ground. On a high platform set up at the playground of the campus, Elder Hirosen dangled his tobacco pipe and looked at the energetic children and their families entering the campus with satisfactory expressions. In these troubled times, the happiness and intoxicating excitement of the villagers is what relieves the former Hokage's stress and calms his mind. At the same time, he feels that he must do everything to protect these smiles. Besides, the former Hokage Hiruzen sat the senior members of the Konoha's decision-making body, including Elder Kaharu, Elder Tsunade, and Sannin. Tsunade was accompanied by Shizune Hyuga Yui and Uchiha Izumi, the three of whom stood beside her respectively. And finally, behind Jiraiya stood Kakashi, who was wearing his new Anbu gear. Considering the identities of all the people, the entire high-level decision-making body except the temporary Hokage Shimura Danzo was present at the high platform. After waiting for a while and seeing that he was not coming, Tsunade impatiently asked Kakashi, "Where is Danzo?" Kakashi sighed helplessly and answered while shaking his head, "Don't know. When I went to the root base to escort Danzo Sima, he didn't even see me and just ordered me to leave without giving any reply." Snotted, doesn't he understand the gravity of his presence here? What exactly is he trying to do? Nobody answered her, as they all had the same thought. However, they couldn't wait too long as the entire crowd has already gathered at the playground. And with that, Kuroto whispered to Elder Hiruzen Sandaime-sama, "We can't wait any longer. It's almost time." Former Hokage also understood the situation very well, so after thinking for a while, he said, "It doesn't seem that Danzo has any intention of participating in the entrance ceremony. In that case, let's start without him. If he comes later, we will manage accordingly." Kuroto nodded and hence the grand entrance ceremony began. Among the crowd, keeping a close watch over the excited Naruto, Anko looked helpless and sighed inwardly. "Why do I have to be the one to look after Naruto? I am supposed to be a kunoichi, not a nanny." As she sighed, suddenly Anko felt a faint tingling on her neck and hot all over her body. Damn it, it started again. Anko's expression dimmed. She gritted her teeth and bore the intense pain coursing through her entire body as covered the mysterious 3-tomo imprint on her neck with her hand. This mysterious mark on her neck is the result of the snake bite that Orochimaru gave her on the night the village was attacked. After that night, when she regained consciousness, Anko repeatedly went to meet Elder Tsunade with the hope that Tsunade could use her Irionen Jutsu and remove the imprint that Orochimaru left on her neck. However, even after several examinations and repeated attempts, Tsunade completely helpless in the face of the imprint left by Orochimaru and could only seal it. Although Tsunade sealed it with the evil sealing method, however, she couldn't fully eliminate its effect on Anko, and there are times when she still feels that pain and lust to gain more power. This tingling sensation and heat she is feeling right now is the best proof of it. Calm down, take deep breaths. Anko took deep breaths to calm herself and then looked at Kuroto with a thoughtful expression. Maybe I should take Kuroto's help. Among all of us, he is the only one who understood Orochimaru the best. Perhaps he might be able to do something about Orochimaru's cursed seal. After making up her mind, Anko tried her best to calm herself and then continued to watch over Naruto. Looking after her is the mission she has been assigned, even if she doesn't want to babysit the kid. She has no say in the matter. Unlike Anko's complicated thoughts, Naruto, who stood next to Anko, was elated at this moment. He didn't care about Sandaime's speech at all. Instead, he was excitedly looking at the other children on the playground. Naruto likes crowded places where he doesn't feel lonely, and this place is exactly that. Looking at familiar and unfamiliar faces, Naruto was delighted and thought that each of them would become his classmates and the possibility of them becoming friends with them in the future. As Naruto was looking at the crowd, he noticed a familiar head with black hair. It was none other than Sasuke. Feeling the hot gaze from behind, Sasuke turned his head only to find Naruto intensely looking at him and nodded slightly. Seeing that Sasuke also noticed him, Naruto excitedly waved his hand towards Sasuke while jumping and shouted, "Hey Sasuke, Sasuke." The sudden action of Naruto disrupted the entire solemn atmosphere that the former Hokage had created in his speech, and everyone's attention was attracted to Naruto and Sasuke, who looked at the two kids with doubtful expressions on their faces. When Sasuke also became the center of all attention, he who was trying to maintain a cool and cold persona could only lower his head in embarrassment and cursed slightly. "Naruto, you idiot. You are embarrassing me." Kiyomi giggled upon seeing Sasuke's embarrassment and then turned back and waved in Naruto's direction, and Naruto excitedly waved back toward her. Upon seeing this, Uchiha Mikoto also giggled and remembered the day when she first introduced Sasuke to her friend Kushina, who was carrying Naruto in her womb at the time. Both Mikoto and Kushina had hoped that Sasuke and Naruto become good friends when they grow up. And now that Mikoto sees that her son Sasuke and Naruto are really good friends, she feels happy and sad at the same time. Happy because their children have kept on their wishes, and sad because Kushina is not there with her to witness this moment. On the platform, the former Hokage is still in the middle of his speech and is instilling the concept of will of fire in the heart of all the children who are about to enter the ninja academy. Meanwhile, Kuroto, who is now the principal of the school, is standing behind Elder Hiruzen and looking at the files of all the trainees who are supposed to enroll starting this year and comparing with them with the children on the playground. Let's see. Uzumaki, Naruto, Uchiha Sasuke, Hyuga Naji, Hyuga Hinata, Nara Shikamaru, Yamanaka, Ino, Akamichi, Choji, Aburam Shino, Inuzuka, Kiba, Haruno Sakura, Rock Lee, and Tenten. These are Konoha, 11+, Uchiha Sakai. After making sure that all 12 of them were present here, Kuroto highlighted their names on the file. These 12 children must be given special attention. Konoha 11+, Uchiha Sasuke are exceptionally gifted children. If they were to receive special attention and targeted training, their talent will bloom and they will become future pillars for the village. After making note of this, Kuroto then transferred his attention to several other children who are equally interesting and talented as these 12 children, but they are present here because of the changes in the canon. These children are Shanwa's had was a bit sullen Uchiha Kiyomi, the adopted daughter of the Uchiha patriarch family who seems to have the same gentle and calm personality as Uchiha Mikoto Kurama Yakumo, who seems quite pale and weak. Then there are two boys named Sai, who has a talent for art, and Shin, who is terminally ill. Sai and Shin are orphans who were adopted by the root. Why did Danzo send these two kids to the ninja academy? Thought Kuroto with a thoughtful expression, but didn't bother to delve into this matter too deeply as he can always ask Naomi to investigate this matter. After making a mental note to himself, Kuroto focused his attention on the pale and weak Kurama. His acute senses were allowing him to sense high concentration yin chakra inside Kurama Yakumo, and this chakra was no inferior compared to the Sharingan of the Uchiha clan. Kuroto has some knowledge about the Keki Genkai of the Kurama clan, although the clan has declined and is on the verge of perishing, with Yakumo being the last member of the clan who has inherited their Keki Genkai. The reputation of Kurama clan still exists in the hearts of many shinobi alive. Kurama clan's prowess in the field of genjutsu is so absolute that even without proper training, their genjutsu is simply overwhelming. Furthermore, their genjutsu is so powerful that it causes the brain to believe anything that happens to the victim, to the point where genjutsu physically harms the victim's body in the same manner they envisioned. Moreover, having a yin or yang-based Keki Genkai is quite rare in the shinobi world. Therefore, Kuroto is highly impressed by the Kurama clan's Keki Genkai, which can rival the Uchiha clan in terms of genjutsu. I'll have to devise a special training plan for Kurama Yakumo. Can't let the same thing happen to her that happened in the canon. She can become one of the best genjutsu users in Konoha, and I'll see to it that she does become one. While Kuroto was making training plans for the kids who needed to be given special attention, Jiraiya and Tsunade were also observing all the children. That kid with the yellow blonde hair, he is Naruto, right? Asked Jiraiya as he observed Naruto. Tsunade nodded slightly. After a moment of silence, Jiraiya asked again, Tsunade, did you check his body? Orochimaru didn't do anything weird to him as he did to Mitarashi Anko, right? Because of his quest of finding the child of the prophecy and because of being involved with the matters of the Kakashi and the Amatsukami organization, Jiraiya, despite being Naruto's godfather, has never been able to pay attention to the kid after the death of Minato and Kushina. He is of course very guilty about this, and more so when Naruto, because of being the Jinchuriki of Kubi, has become the target of the Akatsuki organization and is really worried about Naruto's safety. Tsunade replied, I have checked his body several times since he was rescued by Denzo. Orochimaru hasn't left anything on him, and the tetragram seal that Minato used to seal the Kubi inside him is also not touched. Everything is normal, which, in my opinion, is quite strange. Even when we questioned him, all Naruto said was that he was trained by Orochimaru and nothing else. Since the heir of the Hyuga clan gave the same answers, as such, we had no other choice but to believe what he said. Jiraiya said with a sigh, I hope that's the case. Tsunade chuckled and said, I don't really think we have to worry about him. He doesn't seem to be very good at lying or hiding things. Looking at cheerful and carefree Naruto, Tsunade is subconsciously reminded of her dead younger brother Senju Nawaki. Therefore, she feels somewhat attached to the kid and is willing to trust him. Jiraiya also laughed helplessly, because the kid, Naruto, is also somewhat similar to him when he was younger. As Jiraiya and Tsunade continued to carry out their small discussions, Sandaime finished his speech, and then, amid the applause of all the guests and organizers, the grand entrance ceremony finally came to an end. With the conclusion of the entrance ceremony, the trainees were supposed to be escorted to their respective classrooms, but before anyone could go, Naruto stepped forward from his position, and after coming closer to Sasuke, he issued a challenge to Sasuke. Sasuke, I want to challenge you. Sasuke looked at Naruto like he was looking at a fool and said impatiently, Naruto, stop messing around. We have to go to our classes now. I am not messing around. I am challenging you. Naruto shook his head and stated loudly. Sasuke sighed and said, how many times have you challenged me already? Each time ends in your defeat. So, let's forget this challenge for today. However, Naruto was not about to back down. This time it's going to be different from before. I have learned Senjutsu mode, and using that, I will defeat you. As he said so, Naruto folded his hands over his chest and said proudly, Sasuke, I have already surpassed you. Listening to Naruto's words, Sasuke was confused. Senjutsu, what is that? Not only Sasuke but the other kids in the surroundings and even the majority of the public had doubtful expressions on their faces upon listening to Naruto's words. So far, there has only been a handful of shinobis in the shinobi world who have managed to master Senjutsu. Even Jiraiya, who more than often relies on the assistance of the two great sage toads, has also not completely mastered this art. So, it's natural that not many people are not aware of what Senjutsu is. None of them knew what Senjutsu is, and now that Naruto had mentioned it, they were quite curious to learn. So they gathered around Naruto and Sasuke, looking forward to Sasuke accepting Naruto's challenge. On the high platform, when Jiraiya heard Naruto say that he has learned Senjutsu mode, his expression turned into a deep frown, and he couldn't help but mumble Naruto. Naruto mastered Senjutsu that too at such a young age. Tsunade, who sat next to Jiraiya, was also surprised by Naruto's words, then shook her head with a chuckle. This kid is definitely spouting out nonsense. Even I am struggling to learn Senjutsu for the past few months, even while personally being guided by Katsuyo, so how can he master it at such a young age? Tsunade, who has recently started to learn Senjutsu from Katsuyu, knows the difficulty of mastering Senjutsu all too well. Even though she has exceptional chakra control, she has not been able to sense or blend nature or energy with her chakra up until now. So, how can Naruto, whose chakra control is so poor, blend nature energy with his chakra? And Tsunade also doesn't believe in the possibility that Orochimaru might have helped Naruto with this, because, as far as she understands Senjutsu, she can confidently say that Orochimaru is not capable of learning Senjutsu after what he has done to his body. Hence, it's totally not possible for Naruto to master Senjutsu at such a young age, feeling everyone's attention, especially the attention of all the children in the playground on him. Naruto felt extremely proud, for he, who has always been rejected by most of the village, dreams of such moments. At this time, he pointed at himself and announced loudly, "Listen well, I Uzumaki Naruto will become the greatest Hokage of Konoha, believe it." As he declared his dream, a solemn silence dawned on the field, on the platform in the distance. As Naruto declared his dream, the former Hokage shook his head helplessly. This scene reminded him of the day Uzumaki Kushina first introduced herself to her class after transferring to the Ninja Academy of Konoha. On her first day, she too declared that she wants to become the Hokage with her verbal tick. "Naruto really is her son," mumbled Hiruzen with a sigh. Jiraiya said to Tsunade unexpectedly. "Naruto too, like Minato, has a dream of becoming the Hokage." Tsunade gave no reply and watched Naruto in silence, whether her younger brother Nawaki or her lover Dan. Both of them, like Naruto, had the dream of becoming Konoha's Hokage. However, both of them fell on the battlefield, and that's not all. Even both of her grandpas also died as Hokage, so Tsunade has a deep aversion towards the position of Hokage. As such, she had some complicated feelings towards Naruto's dream of becoming the Hokage. Back on the field, the solemn silence continued for a while, but then, someone laughed, ha ha ha. Nobody knew who started first, but soon enough, almost all the children were laughing off their stomachs at Naruto's dream. There were of course some children who were not laughing and looked at Naruto with serious expressions, but these were a minority. Although Sasuke didn't laugh at Naruto, he still covered his face in embarrassment. He didn't want to admit that he knew Naruto. Perhaps Hinata was the only child in the crowd who neither laughed at Naruto nor did she feel embarrassed about his dream. In fact, she was smiling as she looked at Naruto in admiration. Hinata firmly believes that Naruto will definitely become the greatest Hokage. This is her unconditional belief. She doesn't yet understand what this feeling actually means, but she has it. Naruto also didn't seem to care about everyone mocking him. He only wanted to prove to everyone with his strength, so he looked at Sasuke with a serious expression and reissued his challenge. "Sasuke, please accept my challenge." Sasuke sighed lightly. He then glanced at Naruto and said, "Naruto, although I don't know what this Senjutsu mode you speak of is, I am confident that whatever it is, it won't help you against me. You won't be able to defeat me. In front of my Sharingan you have no chance of winning." "How would I know if I don't even try?" said Naruto, and with that, he clasped his hands together and tried to enter the Senjutsu mode. Ichikishima Haim had told Naruto that after mastering the Senjutsu mode he has surpassed all his peers, is now the strongest among them. Naruto firmly believes her. He has an instinctive feeling that she wasn't deceiving or lying to him. Therefore, Naruto has confidence that in Senjutsu mode he really should be able to defeat Sasuke, even if Sasuke has the Sharingan of the Uchiha clan. Noticing Naruto's serious expression and form, Sasuke also understood that Naruto wasn't just playing around, he was serious. Understanding this, Sasuke's expression also turned serious and he quickly activated his Sharingan. His eyes turned scarlet red with a black tomo revolving in each of his eyes as he carefully observed Naruto with them. As Sasuke seriously responded to Naruto's challenge, the onlookers sensed the solemn atmosphere. Then, one by one, they stopped laughing and looked at the two trainees expectantly. From a distance, the Uchiha party, including Fugaku, Makoto, and Itachi, were observing everything with different expressions. Itachi was especially curious and looked at Naruto with genuine curiosity. Among the many Uchihas, Itachi is one of the few with deep knowledge of Senjutsu. Shisui has given him a lot of explanations about Senjutsu, so he was wondering whether Naruto has really mastered it or not. As time passed moment by moment, on the high platform, Jiraiya's expression also turned solemn. He wasn't sure whether it was just a coincidence or not, but when he tried to perceive the nature energy in the surroundings, he was able to sense a lot of it swirling around Naruto, and this strange phenomenon raised his doubt. Is it just a coincidence, or has he really? Kuroto also looked at Naruto with an expectant gaze. Among all the people present here, perhaps he is the only one who is perfectly aware of the ins and outs of Naruto's mastery over Senjutsu mode. Kuroto has always known that Naruto has the qualifications to master the Senjutsu mode. Moreover, Ichikishima Haim, who taught the Senjutsu mode to Naruto, informed Kuroto everything that happened while training Naruto. She also told him that although Naruto was able to learn it when she taught him, however, currently Naruto is not very proficient in it. He would also need additional assistance to absorb nature energy. Now that Naruto has challenged Sasuke, Kuroto wants to observe Naruto, so, for a moment, the eyes of everyone, including children, parents, and all the high-level officials gathered on Naruto, and I saw for everyone, who always clamor about becoming the greatest Hokage. Time passed, second by second, and Naruto started to charge himself. As time passed, Naruto also grunted, "Oh hush, and then it happened. Poof. As Naruto kept charging himself, everyone really thought that Naruto was going to release a Sinin chakra-infused ninjutsu, but all he released was a smelly fart, which caused everyone's eyes to twitch in annoyance. This why didn't it work? I was absorbing natural energy the entire night. Naruto scratched his head in confusion. In order to fight against Sasuke in the Senjutsu mode, Naruto went as far as to stay up the entire night and absorbed natural energy, although he missed his nap because of this. However, Naruto was fine with it, so long as he could get this opportunity. Naruto thought that this much natural energy should be enough for him to activate the Senjutsu mode, but things didn't go as he planned. Not only was he not able to enter the Senjutsu mode, but he also made a fool out of himself in front of everyone. This fool, Sasuke sighed, then deactivated his Sharingan, and without paying any attention to Naruto, he turned towards the main building of the campus and walked towards it. Seeing Sasuke leave, Naruto became a bit nervous. He finally had the opportunity to challenge Sasuke. Naruto naturally didn't want to waste it. Even if he failed to enter the Senjutsu mode, he wanted to fight against Sasuke without caring much. He rushed towards Sasuke after issuing a loud warning. "I am not done, Sasuke." Sasuke gave no reaction to Naruto's warning and continued to walk forward with his hands in his trouser pockets. From his indifferent reaction, it seemed as if he was completely unaware of Naruto approaching him from behind. The situation stayed like this until Naruto was just a step behind him, and then Naruto pounced on him, but just when he did, Sasuke's figure disappeared with a flash. He then silently appeared just a step behind Naruto, kicked him on the shin, and knocked him on the ground. Then, while completely ignoring the uzumaki Naruto lying before him, he stepped on Naruto's back and continued to walk forward. Oh, and just when he was standing on top of Naruto's back, he turned his head, and while looking at all his peers with a chilling expression, he said, "It doesn't matter what sort of jutsu anyone master, before these eyes, everything is useless, and I am going to use these very eyes to become the greatest shinobi in the entire world." After leaving behind such a declaration, he no longer looked behind and continued to walk forward with his hands still in his pockets. In fact, he really didn't want to look behind because currently, his face was as red as a tomato in embarrassment because of what he just declared. And his only thought at this moment is, that was so embarrassing. Kiyomi, who could see Sasuke's embarrassed face, giggled. As Sasuke walked off his back, Naruto got up from the ground with an unwilling expression. How could Sasuke become so strong? These doubts were natural as Sasuke's movements just a few moments ago were too fast for Naruto to react. And this time, no one dared to laugh at Naruto for embarrassing himself in front of everyone, because the same doubt was plaguing their minds as well. The speed of Uchiha Sasuke just was too fast for them to react, and all of them understood it full well that even if they were replaced with Naruto, the ending wouldn't be any different. Well, most of them thought as such. Not all. There were a few exceptions. One of them was Neji, who had enough confidence. Although he was indeed impressed, and said to himself, he really can't be underestimated, and I really can't slack even a single day in my training, else I will be overtaken by Satsuka Shen, who has always been treated as a Haim, wasn't impressed, and just shook her head. Humph. Such a shock. Hinata worriedly looked at Naruto and wanted to help him. Nara Shikamaru, who would have preferred to watch clouds than be here, sighed. Sigh. So many annoying guys in one place. Next few years are going to be so troublesome. Akimichi Choji kept munching on his favorite potato chips while listening to Shikamaru's words. Yamanaka Ino looked at Sasuke with a blush. Sai put his paintbrush back in his pocket and looked at his drawing book. His brother Shin coughed lightly and also looked at Sai's painting. Kurama Yakomo also approached Sai and curiously looked at his painting. It was the painting of Sasuke knocking down Naruto that Sai had just drawn. Rock Lee clenched his fist as he looked at Sasuke's back in admiration, and inwardly declared to himself, "He is my rival." Sakura, who was a bit timid at this time, also looked at Sasuke's back in admiration. It's just that her admiration was different from Rock Lee's. Tenten was being Tenten, I guess. Noticing that everyone's attention was focused on Sasuke, Naruto became a bit anxious and annoyed. He tried to think of other ways he can use to defeat Sasuke, and suddenly he remembered it. How could I have forgotten? I can also use that. Having found a way to defeat Sasuke, Naruto bit his index finger and hurriedly tried to weave the appropriate hand signs that he learned. But before he could complete, a hand was placed on his shoulder and a familiar voice reached his ear. "Naruto-kun, this is Academy. You can't use that jutsu here." Naruto was taken aback. He turned around and noticed that the familiar voice belonged to Kabuto, and he couldn't help but ask, "Kabuto-nichan, what are you doing here?" Kabuto pointed at his uniform and said with a smile, "I will be teaching at the academy. Also, make sure to call me Kabuto." Naruto became happier. "That's great, Kabuto-nichan." Kabuto-sensei." Kabuto nodded. Then he coughed and whispered lightly, "Naruto-kun, you can't use that jutsu here. It will hurt other trainees." When reminded by Kabuto, only then did Naruto remember it and say with an embarrassed expression, "Oh, right, I forgot." Looking at Naruto, who still wasn't all that nervous, Kabuto became speechless. Before sending him back to Konoha, Kabuto warned him to not use or disclose anything about senjutsu to anyone in Konoha. But Naruto didn't even wait one whole week and declared to everyone that he has mastered senjutsu on the first day of school. Even Kabuto was speechless and not sure how to deal with such a kid. While Kabuto was sighing at his bad luck, in the distance Kuroto looked at the interaction of Naruto and Kabuto with a contemplative gaze. Just now Naruto bit his finger and tried to weave hand signs, which means he was trying to summon one of the snakes of the Ryuchi cave. So, why did Kabuto stop him? Is it possible that the reason why he became a teacher at the academy is Naruto? Does that mean Kabuto is not here to observe Uchiha Sasuke but to observe Uzumaki Naruto?